Today, we're diving into something profound, something that has the potential to change not just how you view the world, but how you live in it. We're going to talk about dreams. Yes, those kinds of dreams, but not just the ones that come to us when we sleep. No, today we're going to explore the very nature of reality itself and how the ancient wisdom tradition of Tibetan Buddhism offers us a new way of understanding the world around us. To help guide us on this journey, let's turn to a remarkable teacher, Yanji Mingyur Rinpoche. Mingyur Rinpoche shares a life-changing story from his childhood, one that has stayed with him and shaped his spiritual journey. As a child, like many of us, he had his heart set on something material, something that he believed would bring him happiness. In this case, it was a toy. He wanted a three-wheeler, one of those bright plastic vehicles that kids could ride around on. He could picture himself joyfully zooming around the yard, carefree, the wind in his hair. But his mom, as many of our parents did, explained that they didn't have enough money for the toy. Of course, young Mingyur was upset. Like any child, the disappointment hit him hard. He wanted the three-wheeler, and not getting it felt like a real loss. But here's where the story takes a turn. His father, a man of deep wisdom, didn't just brush aside Mingyur's feelings or try to distract him with something else. Instead, he used this simple, everyday situation to impart a lesson that would change his son's life forever. His father asked him a curious question. He said, "In a dream, if you found a three-wheeler, how would that make you feel?" Mingyur, of course, said he would be thrilled. Then his father asked, "What if a thief came and stole your dream three-wheeler?" To this, Mingyur responded with the obvious, "I'd be upset, maybe even cry." And here's where the wisdom begins to unfold. His father then posed a question that would stick with Mingyur forever. Does that dream three-wheeler actually exist? Of course, Mingyur had to admit that it didn't. It was just a dream. It was something that existed in his mind, something that didn't have a concrete reality. And yet, in the dream, it felt real. He could experience joy when he found it, and sadness when it was taken away. In his dream, that three-wheeler was a source of both happiness and suffering. Then, his father took this lesson one step further. He said, "The real three-wheeler is no different from the one in your dream." This was the breakthrough. The realization that what he had thought of as solid, real, and permanent, the toy he desperately wanted, was, in many ways, no different from the dream version. It existed as a transient experience, not as something fixed or eternal. This understanding wasn't just an intellectual exercise for Mingyur. It struck him deeply. In that moment, a door opened in his mind, one that would forever change how he viewed the world. He began to see that everything, yes, everything in life, was like that three-wheeler in a dream. Things appear real, they bring us joy, they bring us pain, but they don't have the solid, unchanging existence we often believe them to have. They are fleeting, impermanent, and ultimately, they are constructs of our minds. This teaching became a cornerstone of Mingyur's spiritual practice. Later in life, when he experienced panic attacks, intense waves of fear and anxiety, he applied the same lesson. He began to see his panic in the same way he had seen the dream three-wheeler. It was something that appeared real, something that triggered genuine emotions, but it didn't have a fixed existence. It wasn't something to cling to or to be afraid of. It was like a passing dream, impermanent, transient, and not as solid as he had once believed. By viewing his panic attacks in this way, Mingyur was able to loosen their grip on him. He realized that all the things that caused him suffering, whether fear, anger, desire, or sadness, were temporary appearances. They weren't solid, permanent things. They were just experiences, passing through his awareness like clouds in the sky. This insight didn't make the world feel less real. In fact, the opposite happened. Mingyur found that seeing life this way made everything feel more vivid, more alive. He found that his experience of the world became richer, more spacious. He no longer had to fight against the inevitable ups and downs of life. He could experience joy without getting caught up in it, and he could experience pain without being consumed by it. There was a sense of openness, a sense of freedom that came from recognizing the impermanence of everything. And this lesson, This powerful insight isn't just for Mingyur Rinpoche. It's something that all of us can apply to our own lives. Think about the things we cling to, the things we desire, the things we fear, the things we want to control. How often do we get attached to these things, believing that they define us or will bring us lasting happiness? How often do we suffer when those things are threatened, taken away, or simply change? What Mingyur's father taught him was that we can hold these things more lightly. We can recognize that they are like the dream three-wheeler, real in the moment, but not solid, not permanent. This doesn't mean that life becomes meaningless or that we stop caring. Far from it. In fact, it allows us to experience life more fully. We can enjoy the things we love without clinging to them. We can experience sadness or disappointment without believing it defines us. We can approach life with a sense of spaciousness, freedom, and ease. The power of this teaching is that it frees us from being stuck. We don't have to be trapped by our desires or our fears. We can let go of the need for things to be permanent and find peace in the flow of life, in its ever-changing, ever-shifting nature. This isn't some esoteric or abstract concept. It's a practical way to experience freedom right now in the life we're living. So, next time you feel yourself holding onto something too tightly, whether it's a goal, a desire, a fear, or even a person, ask yourself, is this like the dream three-wheeler? Is this something that, while it feels real in the moment, is ultimately transient, impermanent, and not as solid as I think it is? And how might my life shift if I let it be just that, an experience, a passing dream? As we wrap up, I invite you to take this teaching with you. See if you can apply it in your own life. See if you can let go of some of the things that are causing you suffering by recognizing their impermanence. Find the freedom that comes from knowing that all things, including you and I, are part of a vast, ever-changing flow of life. It's a practice of letting go and opening up to the beauty of what is, right here, right now. May you find spaciousness, not only in your dreams but in your waking life as well.